At the beginning of the season, even when things were starting to look as if they were going to go awry, I said, and I still maintain, that Manchester United have had a very solid transfer window. Brian and Burmo, for what I thought was, we might have paid a little bit more for him than what we wanted to, but ultimately we got one of the most potent attacking right wingers in the Premier League and statistically one of the best over the last few seasons. Senny Lamens, who I really, really wanted, like from the moment we were linked with him, I was like, this is the type of goalkeeper we need to go back to. It's a bit more of a traditional goalkeeper, which I think we needed, but a good young one based on data-led analysis and data-led results, which is why we got him in when we did and got him for the price that we did, which I thought was good business from Ineos as well. Seshko, obviously he's a big money striker. It's difficult to hit the ground running when you're like that. I mean, look at Gyökeres. He's struggling in a much better team to just get those goals and assists on the board, but you can see what he brings to the team in terms of his hold-up play, his more mature outlook on the game, his pressing stats, like everything. So he's definitely one that I think could easily kick on. But chief among which for me is Matheus Cunha, who I think now that because he hasn't got that goal or assist or he hasn't got that standout moment, that he's absolutely flying under the radar. But he was the one that I looked at and I was most excited for when he came in. And now that he's here, it's just backed up exactly what I thought, because I think he gives so much more to Manchester United than what people are willing to admit, but also a lot more than probably what the media expected him to give, which is making it even more delicious. Before we get into it, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new. We're so close to 10k. Hopefully we hit it by the time this comes out, but it'd be amazing if you can just show your support for the channel by clicking that subscribe button. And make sure you get into the comments, because I do read and respond to every single one. But also, if you are new here, we are trying to build the best and most healthy, non-toxic Manchester United platform in the world. So if you want to be a part of that, you know exactly what to do. Matheus Cunha. When we bought him, right, there was a lot of people, and you know what? I actually got quite a few DMs from Wolves fans, including one of my friends who is a content creator as well, who said, best of luck with him because he's a bit of a, he's a bit of a hothead, bit of a nutcase. And you know what? When he left, the way he left Wolves, I thought was okay at the time. Like, you saw what's happened with Isak. I've made a video on that, check that out if you haven't already. But with Isak and with Vissa, I thought it was disrespectful to disrespect your previous employer. Like, for me, I don't think he really did anything wrong in that sense. I could be wrong about that, and maybe I just want to not be wrong about that. But Matheus, when he came in, it was nice that we just settled him in straight away. 62.5 million for a player of that stature, I think, is just what you have to pay in this market. And also, this is someone who was one of the best ball carriers in the world, let alone the Premier League, one of the best ball carriers in the world, and was able to do it in a Wolves team that was starved of creativity. They had a bit of industry in that team. They definitely worked hard, but pure creativity, that was Cunha. And he popped up with the goals and the assists, double figures for goals and assists regularly for them, whether it's one or the other or both in the time that he's been at Molineux. So I think he was someone that you looked at and you thought that is the type of maverick player that Manchester United absolutely need to go and get, because we've been starved of that own creativity for us, but also that nous to just understand what the game requires of you and then to go and do it. So we saw him earlier in the season. I mean, obviously he developed a bit of a knock as well against Fulham, so that put him back a little bit, which again I think is a reason for why the analysis has been a bit harsh on him. I thought he was outstanding in the Arsenal game. I think he's been outstanding in the games that he's played in, and more so because he surprised me, to be honest, in the amount of industry that he puts in off the ball. Because when we signed him, I saw all sorts of stats come out about him walking on the pitch. Like, I've never seen a walking stat until Manchester United signed Matheus Cunha. Because of the success we've had and because of how big we are and because of how many people are interested in us and how many people are interested in clowning us now that we are where we are, which you just have to take as the ebbs and flows of football. But when you see how they treated him and how they treated other big signings before you come, you're doubted before you come in. Where is that for Florian Wirtz? Where is that for Alexander Isak? Now, where is that for Arne Slot? I know he's won the league, fair play, but now you've lost 4 in a row, which Ruben Amorim has never done, by the way, which is crazy. But how has that happened then? So I think with Matheus coming in, everyone just kind of wanted to hate on him. When in actual fact, I've seen a player, since he's come in, I've just seen a player that wants to take the game by the scruff of the neck and take the ball and make something happen, which is a bit of a rarity in football nowadays. I mean, you're so wedded, like we talk about the manager's system, but you're so wedded to formations and wedded to systems that really the individual creativity of a player gets thrown out in favour of just maintaining the sanctity of this system, when in actual fact, our system does allow for two very creative and, more importantly, mobile number 10s. Like, Mbeumo's not a natural number 10, which is why he drifts out wide. Mount is, but he likes to stay more central, so we have that option. And with Matheus Cunha, it doesn't matter what he wants to do. He will do it well. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see this level of creativity manifest itself into goals and assists. But I think it's just really good to look at, Man United, who had a start to the season that was always going to be tough, playing Liverpool away, City away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal at home in those first 8 or 9 games. That was always going to be difficult. But, we come through it with 6 points out of those, and maybe there's other games where we should have picked up more points than what we did, like what we definitely should have. We're now in a position where maybe we can go and rectify those early mistakes now that, the rest of our business has caught up with the match fitness and the sharpness of Cunha, who came at the beginning of pre-season. I was worried that him not getting that goal, not getting that assist, was going to make him snatch at chances. We're going to make him take charge just to force the issue and try and get that goal and try and get that monkey off his back. But if anything, it's not done that. It hasn't done that at all. He hasn't really been perturbed by the fact that he hasn't scored, and he's not going and searching for it. He's accepting it will come eventually, and the floodgates are probably open when it does. But until then, I'm going to give my all to the team. So he's not going on these lung-busting runs and then just taking a snapshot at goal just because he sees it and he sees his name in the lights. He's always scanning the pitch. He's always looking for that option. And 9 times out of 10, he picks the right one. Like, seeing him and Mbeumo link up together is beautiful. I think that is a link up that we'll see pretty regularly. And I think I want that Cunha, Šeško and Mbeumo to really work. And I think we'll start seeing that. We're in a position, and Ineos are in a position where they have to buy players that can bypass some of the earlier issues and introduce a freshness in so many different perspectives. Like Chelsea or a Liverpool, like, I know they've been playing better than us and they've had more success, obviously, than us, but they can afford to make mistakes, just like we could afford to make mistakes in recruitment because, the anomaly was the poor one. But now, because the previous ownership and the previous directorship in terms of football recruitment, who weren't Ineos and whoever the Glazers delegated, they made so many mistakes that it's had such a negative knock-on effect moving forward that almost a scrutiny has been on Ineos that if you don't get it absolutely right, then you're awful. When, in my opinion, fans need to look back and look at the reason for why we're in the position and they're in the position that they are. But whatever your thoughts on that, I think that Ineos have done a really good job in terms of buying those types of players. And Cunha was a risk, and Cunha was a massive risk. And I think looking after that Europa League final, I thought that we weren't going to be signing many players, but to sign Šeško and Mbeumo and Cunha in one window and get Lamens and get the goalkeeper in and get the other goalkeeper out, at least for now, but I think it's going to be permanent soon, is a really remarkable bit of business. And I don't know what the media were really thinking in terms of choosing Cunha as the reason for why things might go wrong, but I think they had a massive miss. And this is, like I said in the title, like I've said multiple times in this video, I think it's just a side of him that you don't usually see. And Amorim likes him. So however long, if Amorim stays in this job long term, which hopefully I really want him to be successful, I really want him to work out, Matheus Cunha is going to be at the heart of everything. Because we've seen with Mason Mount, one, he's improved massively. He needs to get over his fitness issues, but he's definitely improved in this system. He's definitely looked more like the player that we thought we were getting in the first place. Whether the price or anything like that is going to be hit, I don't think it will. Again, that wasn't Ineos, but at least Amorim is making do with what he has and is making him look better. But I think Amorim looked at a player like Cunha, was like, that's the type of guy that we need. And he's going to be central to it moving forward. This is a guy that's moving into his prime years. This is a guy that was, along with Mbeumo, one of the most potent attackers outside of the top 5 clubs. He is the exact type of signing that, in my opinion, Sir Alex Ferguson would have made. Because how many times, yes, we would go and take a risk on a Cristiano Ronaldo. We would sign a Ruud van Nistelrooy. We would sign a Yapstam, of course, and a Andy Cole and a Dwight York, of course we would. But the best of the rest, that's the type of signing that was the foundation of every single successful side that we had, just like Andy Cole. But when you look at a Michael Carrick, or when you look at a Wayne Rooney, when you see these promising players, or you see someone that is maybe outperforming where they are, you see where they could fit into our squad and you go and get them, and that's what they did. So it's a really good time for him to start picking up some form now as we go into the winter months, where games will come even thick and fast for us, even with one a week, with the FA Cup hopefully coming into play, because I want to stay in that longer than we did the League Cup. But I think it's going to be big, and hopefully I'm going to the Brighton game where we will see Matheus Cunha continue that magic, because yeah, I think he's a special player and he gets the crowd off their feet. Right now we've got a goalkeeper that keeps us in our seats, that keeps us calm. We've got a defence that looks more solid than usual. We've got a midfield that does need work, but we have got a front three that excites us again. And Matheus Cunha, I think, is the main reason why. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think about his start as a Manchester United player, about the criticism of the media, which I think has just been completely blown out of proportion, as it usually is. But yeah, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you on the next video.